Welcome. Thank you, my people. Who do you see on your screen? This is Abdullahim Mahmoud. He says what the military can't tackle alone. Exactly 4 years ago, late General Tukru Yusuf Buratai, then as the chief of army staff, incurred the wrath of many Nigerians when he dragged spiritualism into the fight against religious extremism. At a seminar organized by the Nigerian Army headquarters in Abuja, Buratai asserted that terrorism and the terrorist group could not be eliminated alone by the military. He noted that religious bodies and organizations in the country must come to the forefront of this spiritual battle. Buratai observed that the focus must be religious group interfacing on addressing the ideologies which fueled the Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists. During the seminar termed Counting Insurgents and Violent Extremism in Nigeria Through Spiritual Warfare, and which led at the Army Resource Center, Asokoro, the then Army Chief urged Islamic and Christian clerics across the Army formations to join the fight against terrorism and reorient the people against negative ideologies. Buratai said it is easier to defeat Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists than the ideology because while we degrade the terrorists and their heavens, the narrative of the ideology they grow. Therefore, communities, families, and groups should join in the fight and narrative to reject and prevent the ideologies of the terrorist and extremist group, religious and bodies and organizations in particular who interface regularly with the congruent and the grassroots should be at the forefront of this spiritual battle and fashion out ways to stepping out their rules. Alright, the fight against terrorism, Boko Haram and ISWAP as well as other security threats cannot be left to the troops in the battlefield alone. Yes, we will do our duties, but the need to tackle groups through spiritual warfare and orientating the followers against the ideology is also a necessity. It is a well-known fact that terrorism and terrorist groups cannot be totally eliminated by mainly military actions. The need to defeat the ideologies of Boko Haram and ISWAP is based on the awareness that it is the ideologies that enhance their resources and help to recruit new fighters to their fold, and as such kill the ideology and the terrorist movement with us and theirs. My fellow country people, as expected, a large section of the general public did not put Buratai some slack. They banned for the blood and they defended for his head. Journalists, communists, and commentators also locked horns at the battle over Buratai's statement then rapped. If my memory serves me correctly, Consmail Ibokwe, one of the erudite communists I follow at Daily Sun newspapers, somewhat doubted the potency of the spiritual warfare gambit of General Buratai. Mr. Ibokwe, in a piece Beyond the Nigerian Army Spiritual Warfare, quipped, I am not sure how far Buratai's spiritual warfare will go in eliminating Boko Haram. What I know is that when soldiers are trained to ward off external and internal aggression, it is not for nothing that they are called armed forces and not armed spirits, but a fraudulent activity. An Aka commandator Emmanuel Onwubike, the head of Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, in a counter article titled "Spiritual Warfare and Counter-Terrorism," however, rose firmly in defense of the SGCOAS. Alright, according to Onwubike, Burattai's statement was misinterpreted and misunderstood. He wrote, "But let me remind these critics, who I must admit means well for Nigeria, that the Chief of Army Staff did not call for the abdication of combusts by the professional soldiers. Neither did he advocate that the soldiers who are fighting in the war of flashpoint of war on terror should abandon their professional callings to embrace spiritual exercises in churches and mosques. Regardless of the advantages or the divergence in the opinions expressed for and against Burattai's word on the marble, I could recall arguing with a few journalists that the former army chief did not deserve to be lynched in the media. Left to me, the spiritual warfare sunbit of Burattai implies that only through collective effort can the fight against lingering insecurity be won. Fast forward to September 2023, the incumbent Chief of Defense Staff (CDX) General Christopher Nwabin Musa has equally re-echoed the sentiment shared by Burattai, although General Musa this time around did not potentially solicit for the intervention of God and our religious preachers. He did not provocate in stating the obvious. The fight against insecurity is not what the military alone can powerfully wage. It is media briefing on military operations ongoing in the country. The Defense Headquarters (DHQ) called for the support of all Nigerians in its fight against terrorism and insurgency, saying the military cannot do it alone. While speaking on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, the Director of Defense Media Operations (DMO) Major General Edward Buba, who spoke at the conference, said experience revealed that military means alone cannot end terrorism and insurgents. Our mission against terrorists, insurgents, and the perpetrators of insecurity in the country is not one that should be seen as the exclusive passive of just the military alone. These underscore the need for our counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency war to remain a reflection of a whole of society's commitment, even though the DHQ coming out to restate the views of late General Burattai on counter-insurgency. Rational citizens know that fostering national natural security is everyone's job. It is not something exclusively reserved for the Nigerian army or army troops. Citizens also have a crucial role to play in the war against insecurity. Onto this, it is expected that our military will always take the lead, as it has always done, in terms of dealing with criminals whose nefarious activities are further deteriorating our security. It should, meanwhile, involve a more robust and practical strategy of fighting terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, pirates, and secessionist elements, among others. Enhancing and prioritizing the welfare of troops in the front line is very, very vital. It will help in boosting the combat morale of fighting troops. I also have some words for the military authorities led by the Defense Chief General Musa. This is the need to review ongoing military operations, laws and ethnical codes with a view to identifying areas and gaps that need to be strengthened or amended. It is important also for them to come up with sound policies that will comprehensively rigid standard operating procedures known as SOPs and rules of engagement by troops, especially against enemies of the Nigerian state. As for citizens, they should do well to help bolster the intelligence of security and military agencies. If they must rid their communities of terrorists and other bad elements, persons of dubious characters and merciless criminals should not be accommodated. Their presence in any Nigerian community instead should be reported to relevant security bodies. It is also expected that Nigerians, particularly those in the northeast, north central and northwest, should not spare information or informants and collaborators discreetly working with terrorists and bandits. If the rotten eggs can be identified, they should be exposed, arrested, and diligently prosecuted. Our local vigilantes across the 36 states have always complemented the conventional security outfits like the police, army, and other sister security agencies. They also deserve the moral and the logistics support of government and the spirited Nigerians. To the government, the need for adequate funding of our security institutions cannot be ever emphasized, but annual security budget, which are becoming numerous, should duly be accounted for. We cannot be pumping in money to boost national security with nothing tangible to show. Above all, Nigeria can do more for our military troops and security personnel. The road to making our dear nation security free is still long. Attaining that goal, meanwhile, is not impossible. What is unrealistic, meanwhile, is for the masses to think that the Nigerian Army Forces what and all have the exclusive wherewithal a permanent solution for the nation's insecurity. Malice, it is time we do away with that fallacious and misleading school of thoughts. Ahmad is the deputy editor of PR Nigeria, and that is coming shortly from his desk. My people, drop your take and your comment right at the comment section, and remember to follow us for more.